the people who are gone can see this in the future. We're recording now. So stop saying horrible things. Okay. So now this is a tough question, and if anybody can actually answer it, I will totally give you a prize and I will be very impressed. The question is this. Do you remember when we were originally talking about interest and I said, okay, the formula for interest is principal times rate times time, right? But when you take out a loan, do you see this stuff at the top that has like a specific chart that tells you how we're going to calculate like how much you owe on your loan overall? Why does there have to be a chart to figure this out? Why can't you just take principal times rate times time? Like if you're borrowing $200,000 at 2% interest for 10 years, why can't we just multiply those together and figure out how much interest you're doing? Why is it complex? Why isn't it simple, like normal? Olivia, just you, go for it.
Is it because everyone has different pricing?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea, but they don't actually give different like interest rates to different people, Olivia. They'll give different amounts of your loan. So like the bank will be like, look, we're giving a 3% interest, like they have like specials where they'll be like, right now we're doing a 3% APR for everybody. But if you have a bad credit score, they'll be like, ooh, you can only borrow $20,000, but somebody with a great credit score can borrow $300,000 for their house. So they'll change how much you can, but not your interest rate. Anybody have an idea? Let me rephrase the question. Why would you pay back different interests at different times? Like, why at the beginning is your interest going to be so high that you're paying right away, and towards the end, you're not paying much interest at all? Ooh, now we got two people going for it. All right, we got Kira and Caitlin. Let's see who it is going to be. Anybody else? No? Kira, what do you say?
Would it be because since you're paying off, it'll change each time?
Your
amount of money is changing.
Oh, there you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so it would change because you are paying off something each time, so the amount of money that you are getting interest on changes.
Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So like at the beginning, you owe all the money, and then you pay back some, so now you owe less interest next time. You see, like it's more like a month by month, and by the end, you've almost paid off your entire loan, so your interest is gonna be very little, but you pay interest month by month instead of having to pay interest like at the beginning, because that'd be really expensive. Kira, great job. You want an I'm a winner sign? Or did one of those animals strike your fancy?
No, I'd rather have an I'm a winner sign.
All right. I gotta tally these up. Okay, so we've got to use this fancy chart to be able to figure out how to do this stuff. So I'm going to do a few problems with you and show you how to do it, and then you're going to be responsible for the rest. Sound good? Okay, so let me change this so I can't see all of you, but I can see what I'm doing. See some of you now. Okay. So let's start with, I don't know, how about the first one? 500. So you're borrowing $500 and they give you an annual percentage rate of 13.5. Now this says that this is the interest you pay per $100. That means that if you did exactly $100, this is exactly what you would pay in interest. But we're not doing exactly $100. We're doing $500. So how would we figure out what we need to pay? Anybody have an idea? Just unmute and talk.
Are you going to multiply the things by 5?
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to write down a process, okay? First, you're going to take the amount borrowed. Everybody write this down. And you're going to divide by 100. And then you're going to multiply that number by the number in the chart. So like Levi said, it was $500, but that's 5 100ths. So now I'm going to go to 13.5 APR, which is what it says right here. So I'm going to go to that column. I'm going to go down to 6 months. And so to figure this out, I'm going to take 3.974, that's this one right here, and multiply that by 5 on my calculator. So everybody, please, in your calculator, take 3.974 and multiply by 5. All right, I got 1987. Did you guys get the same thing? Okay. And now to figure out the monthly payment. Anybody have an idea of how we can pay that back? Because we owe 500 bucks, right? So we definitely have to pay that 500 bucks back. That'd be pretty sweet if you could borrow $500 and only pay back $19.87. I'd be borrowing money all the time. But how do we figure out what they have to pay each month? Because they're going to owe this, and they're also going to owe that over 6 months. So what should I do?
Add them and then multiply by 6.
Add them and then not multiply. Paul, what do you think? Unmute.
You don't multiply, but you do the divide because you divide it by like 6 months, I think.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to add to this that $500. Nice job, Paul. I'm going to add together 500 and 1987, which should give me, surprise, if you do this on your calculator, I believe it's going to be $519.87, but I'll make sure. Just real quick. Oh, it is. Okay. And then we're going to divide by 6 months. So I got, see if you got the same thing as I did, $86.65. Did you guys get the same thing? You should have taken $500, add in that, and once you get that answer, then divide by 6, and that's how much you're paying every month. Okay, so let's try again. Why don't we do, I don't know, let's do this one down here, this 90886.
Miss Nussbaum,
Yeah,
since I got this example done, the school has a new computer that I can go pick up right now. Is it okay if I go do that?
that's fine with me. If you understand how to do this, it's
Yeah, I do. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you a second right now to do 21 and 22. And then I'm going to give someone a prize for telling me how to do 21 and 22. So go ahead and take a second right now and do it.
Miss Nussbaum,
Yes.
can you explain how you got the first one?
Okay, so I took this amount and you divide by 100. Remember, because at the top it says take the amount borrowed and divide by 100. And then multiply that number by the number in the chart. So I'm going to take 908.86 and divide by 100. And then multiply by whatever I should be multiplying by in the chart. And copy down all that stuff in your calculator too. So it's not going to be, it's going to have a few decimal places. You only want to round when you get to your answer.
Miss Nesbaum,
Yeah?
can you try to like zoom out or go back down to the numbers that was for the problem? Thanks.
Dang it. There we go.
Can I raise my hand again for the answer or no?
Yes, please do. Anybody can raise their hand again. Digitally raise your hand when you, if you want to share. Be brave.
For number 22, do you divide the month or
You
multiply?
divide by the number of months once you put them together. Because you're paying back that total over 18 months. So you want to pay back the same amount every month. And they do actually do this way. They try to keep your payments steady. So even though technically you're paying less interest every month, they like calculate that out before you even start. And then they make that the same for every month so that you don't have like huge bills at first and almost nothing at the end. All right, we got Paul and Caitlin and Levi. Anybody else want in? You want a little bit more time?
Can we get a little bit more time?
A little bit more time?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Miss Nussbaum, do you know how to do this?
Do I know how to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then why isn't your hand not raised?
Oh, I'm sorry. Because I don't want to call on myself because that's just me teaching.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, though. I'm glad you're looking for consistency. Can you hear my dishwasher now?
I only heard it one time, and that's like when nobody was talking. There was like no noise, but otherwise I can't hear it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have my calculator select one of you 4. Kira's 1, Paul's 2, Caitlin's 3, Levi's 4. 3. Caitlin again. Caitlin, you're going to get all the animals today.
So for the first one, I got $131.86.
I got the same thing. What'd you get for the second?
$57.82.
Yes. Okay. So tell us how to do it.
So for 21, you take the 908.86 divided by 100.
Okay. I'm going to do that down here. So I take 908.86 and I divide by 100. And then what did you get when you did that?
0.9 0886.
Right. Okay. And then you take that number and multiply by what?
By the number that's in the box. I can't remember what it was.
Right. So if you go back up, let's see, we've got 17.6 APR and it's for 18 months. So that's the most money. 14,508. And if you multiply those together, you get what she said, which was $131.86. So remember, you can't round this one and you can't round that one. You round when you get to this point. Okay, now what?
And then for the number 22, you take the answer to 21 plus 908.86.
Okay, so that's the interest you're paying, and you're adding in 908.86.
and then you divided it by 18.
Good. And once you add those together, you divide it by 18, and then you should get $57.82. Okay, next question. Caitlin, can I put you on the spot? You ready for it? Okay. Caitlin, look at these problems and tell me this. We did these right. I'll tell you that right now. So the answer isn't we messed this up. This one you're borrowing only $500, and this one you're borrowing $908, right? Shouldn't this payment be more? Like if we're paying back more money, shouldn't we be paying more per month?
But you're doing it in 3 times the amount of time.
Right, this is less time. So if you we're doing something like buying a car or buying a house and you're paying like a monthly payment, if you say, I'm buying this brand new car and I'll pay it off over 2 years, then your monthly payment is way higher than if you put it over 5 years. So why would people choose to pay it off in 2 years instead of 5 years? Anybody?
You don't have to pay as much interest.
Right, you don't have to pay as much interest at the end. So you might be paying more per month, but you're only paying it for 2 years. And then at the end, you don't have to pay as much interest. So you really need to figure out with a budget, and that's where a banker will help you decide not only how big your loan is, but then how much you can afford to pay back per month, and then they'll dial it back to that. So you might have a 30-year mortgage if you can't afford a lot per month, or you might have a 10-year mortgage if you can afford quite a bit per month. So it depends on you and your family. Also, you're allowed to switch it in the middle. So like, for example, when Bo and I bought a house, and we bought a house 6 years ago, we got a 30-year mortgage because we were very poor, and we bought like the very expensive house in the rich part of town, and because we wanted our house value to go up and to embarrass our neighbors with how poor we were. And we've succeeded there. Okay, so we're doing a great job. But then we started saving our money and doing better and better and better. And the APR went down right now. And so we refinanced our home, which means that we basically just asked them to recrunch the numbers and to give us a new percentage rate. We had to pay a fee for that. But now we're paying almost the same amount that we did before per month, and we had like 24 years left on our mortgage, and we reduced it down to a 15-year mortgage. So the price was so much better because the interest was so much lower, and we could afford a larger monthly payment. We do pay a bit more now, but not a whole bunch more. So you can kind of change your mind in the middle of a loan if you're like, I want to pay it back slower, or I want to pay it back faster. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop recording. Yes?
For that one, wouldn't you have to times what the AP